leaking. Hey, at least our water alarm works. Hi, we're Ginger and Greg. We're converting a 4x4 Freightliner ambulance into the expedition rig of our dreams. In our last video, we finally installed our DIY electric bed lift. After 6 months of working on this conversion non-stop, we only have one big project left, and that's our water system, which includes our shower and toilet. Water capacity was really important to us when we were designing this rig. More water means more time off-grid, which is why we have space for 96 gallons of fresh water. Our fresh water supply is spread evenly over 3 tanks. 2 tanks are in exterior compartments, where I previously insulated the exterior doors and around the tanks. For the 3rd tank under the chassis, Greg built a custom mount, we insulated it, and all of our tanks have tank heaters as well. We have a 6-gallon electric Kuma hot water heater. Remember, we have no propane in this build. This is tied into the coolant lines on our truck, so when we're driving, the heat generated from the engine is actually heating the water in this tank. Now, of course, we can heat the water using our battery bank as well, but if we've been driving around, it's kind of nice that our water in the hot water heater will be hot without pulling from our battery bank.
Welcome to our shower. So we are going to be trying today our water system. So we just finished plumbing everything, and we haven't tried it yet. So currently we don't have any water in our lines, so I hope we won't have any leaks. I mean, I'm assuming we will have some leaks, but hopefully not too many. And so what I did is basically use a PEX line as much as we could. Blue for cold, red for hot. And you can see here there's like 2 red lines. The goal is basically prior taking a shower or anything like that, when we need basically hot water, instead of wasting water and throwing the cold water that was in the line into our gray tank. I have actually a recirculation system, so the hot water will go through the line and out back to our tank. So now what do we have here? We have basically 2 things. We have one valve to basically turn on and off the water at the shower head, and we have a mixing valve which basically allow us to set the shower to a specific temperature. So obviously this will be covered up once we're done with the testing. Right now it's open just to see if there's any leak.
So all of our water will go through this first filter, which is a 5-micron sediment filter. And then additionally, our drinking water is going to go through 2 more filters, plus a UV, which is going to go to our drinking spigot. We've got our hot water heater, water pump, and accumulator tank.
All right, let's turn on the water. Slowly.
Ooh, definitely leaking. Hey, at least our water alarm works. Aren't you glad I added that?
That was my fault.
Why?
I didn't crimp those.
You didn't crimp it? Oh my god.
Well, at least it's a good test.
I can't believe you didn't crimp it.
You know how many I had to crimp?
Greg forgot to crimp these, so that's why water just sprayed everywhere. You've crimped everything now?
I don't know, we'll see.
I don't see any water coming in this time. All right, I'm ready. All right, I don't see any leaks. You want me to turn on the water?
Yeah.
Water! Greg! frosty morning. So it's been a very long and cold couple of days here since we tested the water. When we tested the water, we were just testing the water coming in, going to the tanks, and making it to the sink and shower. And actually the water that went in the sink and shower was draining out onto the ground because we hadn't connected our gray tank yet. We thought that connecting our gray tank was going to be the last big project that we had to do, and that it would just be pretty quick. But of course, that's not how it worked out. So you guys might remember that months ago, we insulated and mounted our gray tank under the truck. So in our minds, connecting it from the shower to the tank should have been the last thing and a simple thing. But unfortunately, when Greg got down there to do the connections, he just didn't have enough room between where the tank was and the frame rails are and where everything else is for the truck to really run the lines well. And we already had put in the smallest possible gray tank, which was already going to be kind of a bummer. But now we found out that we couldn't even run our lines to it. So we had to take it out and come up with another solution. In hindsight, what we should have done is to have our exhaust downsized, because that's actually something that we're planning to do in the future. And if we had done that now, we could have put in a bigger gray tank underneath. But, at this last couple of days when we're trying to get on the road, going to get the exhaust done just didn't seem like something we wanted to do. So we decided to come up with another option for the gray tank. What we did is we moved our existing gray tank, took it out from under the truck, out of the nice case that Greg made for it with the nice insulation that I made for it, and we mounted it directly under the sink. It's now under the sink in a heated compartment, so no risk of freezing, but that one tank isn't going to be enough, and obviously the water from the shower can't go upstream to that tank. So underneath the truck, we've added another tank, which is a custom solution that we came up with the help of our friend Arnie from Arnie's Plumbing in Springfield. It is a 8-inch PVC tube, and Arnie and Greg came up with some custom fittings to basically make this a gray tank for us. There is, of course, a little bit more to this whole water system, including how those two tanks are hooked together. Let's make sure they work once we get on the road, see if we make any modifications, and then of course we will do a more detailed video on the whole water system. Right now, what we're gonna do is to test it. We've had a couple of setbacks over the last couple of days, just trying to get this custom tank to vent properly and to work properly. We are hoping that this is the third and final test of this tank. Check, check, mic check.
Oh, good.
All right, I am going to turn the water on in the shower. So last time we did this, the water was backing up because we didn't have the tank vented enough. So that's really what we're trying to see here.
Hello.
You look ridiculous.
Well, that's not nice to say.
So?
So I think the issue is fixed. Yay.
That's good. So tonight you can take a shower in it, and we can test the hot water and the length of the hot water and all that.
Yeah. Can take a short shower, not a long shower, I think.
But we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
And now that we know that the tanks are working, what I can do is I can go underneath and finish winterproofing our lines and all of that. Insulation and all the good stuff on the new tank. Now, in a perfect world, we would have all of our water tanks and all of our water lines inside the ambulance. We would also, in a perfect world, be able to do that without losing any storage space or living space. We obviously don't live in a perfect world. And so here's what we have. When we were making this decision of putting a tank and some of the lines outside versus putting it inside and losing a really big chunk of storage space, we weighed the kind of lifestyle that we tend to lead, which is 85, 90%, no, I'm gonna say 90% of the time above freezing temperatures. And even that, I mean, it might be 95%. because Greg really doesn't like to be cold. Whereas I like to snowboard and do snow stuff. Anyways, because we don't spend a majority of our time in those below freezing climates, that's the trade-off that we made. In order to be able to still camp in those kind of temperatures, we need to do some things to prepare. So what I've done is I've gone last week and I have put this water pipe heat cable on all of the exposed PEX that goes to the one tank underneath. Now what I need to do is go under and I need to insulate it with the fiberglass pipe wrap. I've never done that before. I have a feeling it's not going to be fun. I have to wear gloves and goggles and a respirator, and I have to do it in a really, really small space while laying on my back under a dirty truck. So I'll try to take video, but it's probably going to be a lot of like my arms doing things like this. Anyway. In case you're wondering, yes, this heat pipe cable is going to run off our solar, which is going to be interesting because, you know, winter, you don't have as much sun. We might have snow on the solar panels that we need to take off that might impact, you know, how much power we're getting in. But we're feeling pretty confident with the system that we've built that we will be able to do cold weather camping. And of course, we have our diesel heater to keep us warm, so that helps as far as, you know, not using all of our electricity just to keep us warm. After I insulate those PEX lines, I am going to move on to insulating that new custom tank for the gray water that Greg just put in. Now, I cannot put the heat pipe cable on that because there's not always water in it. You don't want to put that cable on drain lines and lines that are not constantly filled with water, or at least that's what the box says. We have put a tank heater on it, and I'm going to go in and try to wrap it with foil-backed fiberglass, and it's going to be very difficult because it is pretty snug up to the frame. This is going to be interesting. Time to get suited up. I'm going to stick this old buff on my head because the little bits of like dirt and whatever is under the truck that falls in my hair is disgusting. I'm sure I look awesome. All right, so I've got the fiberglass part done. It is definitely not easy. The fiberglass rips really easily, so when you're trying to, you know, wrap it in between the pipes in this very small space, it just kept ripping. It is not easy, and it is not at all a comfortable position, but it's done. And now I'm gonna go and put the plastic and foil tape over it, and then my part will be done. Now Greg is going to build out of aluminum kind of a plate underneath the pipe so that there's no chance of them getting damaged when we are off-roading. I don't know if he's doing that now or down the line, like once we get out west. I don't know, but that's gonna happen at some point. So back I go. All right, I'm done. That took longer and was harder than I was hoping, but it's done. I'll be so glad when we cover this up. All right, so are you ready to test the shower?
I mean, you're going to be testing it first.
I'm going to test it first because we don't know how long we can go before we need to let the water tank kind of reheat, right?
Mm-hmm.
In our old rig, we had instant on-demand hot water.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. You're probably wondering, well, why didn't you do that again?
Yeah, why?
At this point, I'm wondering why we didn't do that again. It saved us $1,500. Are you okay? It saved us $1,500 not to do it. But now that the build is pretty much done and we're so on budget, I wish we would have done it. I just assumed we'd be massively over budget. And so we might switch in the future to go back to our hydronic hot water. We might.
Maybe.
You know we might.
That's what I said, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm gonna shower first. Gonna do the typical, you know, on-off conserve water shower. I am gonna wash and condition my hair. If you shower right after me, you may or may not get a hot shower. That's what we don't know. We're gonna find out. Okay. Shower! All of a sudden I feel like I don't know how to take a shower. It's been a long time since I had to conserve water.
Sure gonna make it work.
It's warm!
Alright, give us your feeling.
Oh, it feels good. I have it set at like 110, and it feels pretty good, honestly. I might even be able to take it down a little. I mean, it feels really good, but we'd get a longer shower if I took it down, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
Uh-huh. Ooh la la. I see you.
That was way better than I expected. I mean, the water is perfect with the thermostatic mixing valve. The temperature's perfect, but like as far as the space, I mean, I was worried about the shower curtain and like I didn't want it like touching me and sticking to me. And it didn't, like it never touched me. Like, the space is actually really good. I'm more curious what you're gonna think because you were even more anti-shower curtain.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it.
Good. Give me back my towel. In terms of space, I agree. It's not bad at all.
It's way more spacious than I thought. Do you agree?
Yeah. You're sitting from the outside, it looks small.
I know!
It was a good shower. Hot water. Plenty of hot water. So not so bad actually, that tank. I mean, sure, if you want to take a infinite shower when we're at a campsite, which happen basically never, we won't be able to do it, but
If we ever have hookups, we'll test it and see how long.
yeah.
But since that's not our lifestyle.
Yeah, but, I think it's pretty good. And I like that I can heat up the water as we're driving. I don't know. Or from the solar. I think it's pretty good.
What now?
Well, now I think it's pajamas and a movie in bed.